Hey everyone, Aaron here. This is my 40th review on this channel, and that is of Shiki. Now, besides review number 39, which was Final Fantasy Limited, which it's not a horror, but it's sure as hell horrific to watch, 38th and 37th review were of Higurashi and Numeneko, which were horror anime, I think in the genre more of psychological horror. Shiki is a little bit like that, but in the more traditional sense of horror, and I'll explain why. So the story begins where it talks about this small little town in Japan. You know, it's one of those places barely on the map of Japan. You can't really find it. Small village. It has a lot of the old stylings of how people act to one another, where it's very laid back, and you know, when rumors fly around town, they fly around because this town's small. And our main character, he's a kind of a city boy. He doesn't really understand too much about the whole kind of village lifestyle. But he does notice some very odd things in the village. One of the main things he notices is that there's a very strange style castle on top of a hill. And that's very odd to him, because if I don't know if you guys know about Japanese history, there's not too many castles still left. I mean, there were some from the Edo periods and such like that, from the days of samurai. But nowadays, that kind of castles don't really exist. I mean, there's still a few in some historic locations in Japan, but, So, our main character sees this castle and kind of intrigued by it, but doesn't do anything about it too much. And apparently, from what the villagers are all saying, it's kind of a new castle. It was recently built really fast. It has no purpose there. So then we zoom ahead and we start looking at other characters of the show. We start looking at a doctor who is dealing with some stuff. He's trying to figure out why it seems like a strange kind of sickness is hitting town. We start having some deaths here and there. And it all seems very odd. Our main character seems pulled into this kind of just weird world of just odd occurrences, odd death happening around him. And because our main character is kind of very stoic and laid back, he doesn't really pay too much mind to it. He's more so trying to deal with a girl who likes him and he doesn't really like her, and she's kind of stalkerish towards him. He's dealing with, trying to be laid back, and people seem to want to talk to him because he's a cool character. And it's only until maybe the 4th or 5th episode of the show where you start understanding that maybe the deaths in the town aren't so random. Maybe there aren't just incidents that are occurring. It's something more than that. And thus, behold, why, if you see on the left, one of the main girls of the game, of the anime, she is actually one of the main characters completely of the show. And I won't spoil who she is because she does play a integral role to the show, but the whole thing of Shiki is that you soon learn that there are more than meets the eye with some of the villagers, especially the ones that are living in this castle. Now, I don't want to spoil what type of creatures per se are Shiki, but I will say they're very close to vampires. And it's so, the traditional sense of vampires is these, you can't go in the day, you have to be careful of certain religious deities, concepts, because crosses, for example, would hurt them, etc., etc. Shiki tends to kind of play with that a little bit, where it melds into a perfect sense of traditional vampires and more modern-day vampires, and not glowing vampires. I don't care who is here as a Twilight fan. I'm sorry, I don't like Twilight. I won't give you crap for it, but I never liked the concept of Twilight. Sorry, but and I could feel my subscriber base, like a few people going, "Oh, you don't like Twilight? No, unsubscribe." No, don't do that, please. No, no, but it plays with vampires in a very interesting role, and as the show goes on, you'll learn a lot about these vampires that, per se, they're not normal vampires. They're very different in the sense that we've learned, and in sense, the meaning of Shiki actually is something. If you go on Google, you'll learn what actually Shiki stands for. I won't say it because I think also part of that is a spoiler to the show. But I'll tell you, Shiki's storyline, its setting are very, very good. I love the horror aspects of it because it's not something that just happens. A lot of stuff happens in the first couple of episodes, mind you, but it's more so setup based. It's more so, kind of setting up this weird atmosphere, who's going to be the main players of the show. And there are several main characters, but almost kind of like Game of Thrones-esque is that, you don't really want to like one character because that character might die. And Shiki plays around with characters that the main characters, aren't invincible. They actually, some of them, you'll be surprised when they die because they will die. And it will come out of left field, like, oh, this character died, what? But it doesn't do what Game of Thrones I don't like about Game of Thrones, the whole concept of killing off its character just for shock value. Shiki does it because there's a reason for it. You know, either a character was delving too deep into the lore of the town, or he got too close, or she got too close to the castle and its residents. And that's pretty interesting. I like the way that happens. The animation for Shiki is also phenomenal. I don't personally like the character designs for them. They're a little kind of overly colorful for a show that's kind of dark and morbid, but it's still a nice change of pace. It kind of reminds me of also a very traditional sense of anime, in that there's a lot of pointy features on characters, and you know, it's again very colorful, but it's not a big deal. It's not really that much of a hindrance on it. If I had to find any other flaw in the show, it's probably that it's over very fast. It's 20 episodes, I believe, maybe a little more than that. I'm sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head, but Shiki ends, and it just ends. It has an actual ending, don't get me wrong, it actually ends pretty well, but there was so much I think they could have done more with the story, that they could have maybe investigated more past tense stuff, more talked about more of the history of the characters, but they tend to shy away from that, and when the show picks up, it just ramps up constantly, it doesn't slow down, it just keeps going up another pedestal in terms of action and horror elements. So if I had to review Shiki from an A through F, I gave it a solid B+. I was very close to giving it an A-, but that would be, I think, more biased in terms of it does have some, you know, cliche characters here and there, and it's, again, you know, it does have its time moments where its story is like, meh, hits those little man moments, but overall, very good anime. Highly recommend watching it if you love horror anime and you've never heard of it, because I know a lot of people have not heard of the series. Definitely check it out. Anyways, guys, that's it for this review. Please like, comment, subscribe, you know, the whole nine. I'm still taking anime recommendations. I know some of the anime recommendations are taking a long time. I apologize fully for that. It's just, school and stuff, it's a little easier for me to do regular reviews of stuff that I know off the top of my head and I'm not watching currently, than doing stuff that I'm watching currently and also having to do college classes and stuff like that. Anyways, guys, until our paths cross again in the next review, have a good one. Bye.